Chapter 5 The Price of Air. The police arrived within 6 minutes of the body hitting the stage. Gerald stood amid the chaos, 70,000 people fleeing in panic, security trying to establish a perimeter, emergency vehicles screaming through the streets, and watched his carefully constructed empire begin to crack. Michael's corpse lay 20 feet away, covered now with a tarp, but the blood had spread across the concrete in a pattern that looked almost intentional. The impact crater where he'd landed was 3 feet deep. No one could survive a fall from that height. Except Marco hadn't fallen. He'd been dropped. Mr. Gerald, a detective approached middle-aged woman with sharp eyes that had seen too much. "I'm Detective Chen. I need to ask you some questions." "Of course." Gerald's voice was steady, calm, the perfect tone of a shocked but cooperative citizen. I don't understand what happened." "Neither do we." Chen gestured at the crater. "Body falls from the sky in the middle of your rally. No aircraft overhead. No buildings tall enough nearby for someone to throw him from. Security footage shows him just peering. One frame he's not there. Next frame he is, like he materialized mid-fall." Chen's eyes narrowed. "You have any idea who'd want to disrupt your event this dramatically?" "My son," Gerald thought. "My son who just achieved the impossible and wanted me to know it." "The Awakened," he said aloud. "They've been threatening us for months. This must be some kind of attack. A demonstration of their powers." "The victim," Chen consulted her notes, "isn't carrying ID, but he has unusual markings. Tattoo on his ribcage looks like Chinese characters. Mean anything to you?" "The clan insignia. Subtle enough that most people wouldn't recognize it, but anyone who knew about the clans would see it immediately." "Fuck. I'm not sure," Gerald lied. "Perhaps some kind of gang affiliation." "Maybe." Chen didn't look convinced. "We'll need to keep you here for a while. Get your statement properly. And we'll want footage from your security cameras." "Of course. Anything to help." But Gerald's mind was racing. The police would investigate. They'd identify Michael eventually. He had a legal identity, a cover story. But it would lead back to organizations that Gerald needed to stay buried. And the body dropping from the sky with no explanation would be all over the news within hours. "Marco, you brilliant, reckless idiot. You just forced my hand." His encrypted phone buzzed. "Darius." Gerald excused himself, stepped away from the detective, and answered. "What the fuck happened?" Darius demanded. "We're seeing footage. Michael's dead, dropped from the sky at your rally, in front of 70,000 witnesses." "What the fuck?" "Marco happened," Gerald said quietly. "How? Michael was one of our best masters. How does an 18-year-old kill someone with 37 years of training?" "Because Marco isn't just any 18-year-old. He's my son. I trained him from age 3. And apparently," Gerald looked up at the empty sky, "he's surpassed everything I taught him." "The council wants answers. Emergency meeting in 2 hours. You need to be there." "I'm being questioned by police." "Then unbe questioned. This is clan business, Gerald. You don't get to hide behind your purity movement anymore. Your son just declared war on all of us." The line went dead. Gerald stood in the chaos of his shattered rally and felt the walls closing in. Marco existed everywhere and nowhere. He could feel the wind currents moving across the entire city, could sense every breath of air from the harbor to the industrial district. He was the breeze that rustled leaves, the gust that rattled windows, the pressure differential between high and low systems. He was air itself, and he had no idea how to stop being air. Solidify, he thought desperately. Come back, become physical again. But his body, if he still had a body, didn't respond. The dissolution had been easy, natural, like letting go of a rope and falling. This was the opposite. This was climbing back up that rope without hands. He tried to focus on a single location. The warehouse roof where he'd dropped Michael's body seemed like hours ago, but might have been minutes. Time was strange when you were atmosphere. Focus. Remember what it felt like to be solid. Boundaries. Skin, muscles, bones. A shimmer formed in the air above the warehouse roof. Marco's hand, translucent, barely visible, coalesced for a moment before dissolving again. Fuck. Come on. I did this backward to get here. Just reverse it. But the technique his father had described becoming air had never included instructions for becoming human again. It was supposed to be something you did at 40, after decades of preparation, with masters standing by to guide you back. Marco was 18, had figured it out in a moment of rage and revelation, and was now trapped in a state that might be permanent. Is this what the other 5 felt? Did they get stuck? Is that why so few try it? Another shimmer, this time his arm up to the elbow, plus a vague impression of his torso. He could see through himself, could feel the wind passing through where his chest should be. More. Keep going. Remember being Marco. Remember having a body. The effort was enormous, like trying to clench muscles that didn't exist, like trying to breathe without lungs. He managed to hold the partial form for 10 seconds before exhaustion made him dissolve again. I'm stuck. I actually fucking did it. Achieved master level technique at 18, and now I'm trapped as wind. Far below, he could sense his boyfriend on the warehouse roof, looking up, calling his name. The sound reached Marco as vibrations in air molecules. He could feel every word but couldn't respond. He tried again, focused everything on one single point of existence. His head formed first translucent, ghostly, but recognizably him. Then his shoulders. Then his chest. Marco! His boyfriend was staring right at him, eyes wide. Marco, I can see you. You're transparent, but you're there. Marco tried to speak but had no throat, no vocal cords yet, just the shape of them. The air where his mouth should be vibrated slightly. Can you come back? His boyfriend's voice was terrified. Can you become solid again? Marco tried, pushed harder, felt something tear inside, not physically, but in whatever part of him connected consciousness to matter. He fell. Not physically, he didn't have enough body to fall, but his concentration broke and he dissolved completely back into atmosphere. Shit. That hurt. Something broke. I pushed too hard. He could feel it now. Damage. Not to his body, he didn't have one, but to whatever channels connected his will to physical form. Like he'd torn metaphysical muscles trying to force solidification too fast. I need help. Need someone who knows this technique. But the only people who know it are clan members, and they all want me dead. Marco dispersed across the city, becoming thin enough that even awakened couldn't sense him, and tried to think. Jenna crouched in the safe house 3 miles from the warehouse, checking her phone obsessively. 16 windwalkers had made it here. Others were at different locations across the city. No one knew where Marco was. Anything? Kai asked, pacing by the window. Boyfriend says he saw him. Sort of. Marco was translucent, like he was half air. Then he dissolved completely. Jenna looked up. What the fuck did he do to himself? Became air. You saw the videos. He just disappeared. Turned into nothing. Kai's hands were shaking. What if he can't come back? What if that's it? He'll figure it out, Jenna said, trying to sound confident. He's Marco. He always figures it out. but privately she was terrified. They'd just lost their leader right after losing 3 members in the rescue. The Windwalkers were scattered, vulnerable, and being hunted by someone good enough to find them even with Marco's precautions. Sarah, the new recruit, spoke up from the corner. The hunter, the one Marco killed. Who was he? Clan member, Kai said. Had to be. No one else fights like that. So the clans know about us now. For sure. They've known for a while. But yeah, now they know it's Marco specifically. And that he's Guy gestured helplessly. That he's whatever he is now. Jenner's phone buzzed. Message from another safe house, all secure. 12 people here. Still no Marco. She forwarded it to the group chat. 32 Windwalkers accounted for now. Everyone who'd survived the rescue was accounted for except their leader. We need a plan, Jenner said. If Marco doesn't come back or can't come back, we need to know what we're doing. We keep teaching, Kai said immediately. That's what he'd want. Keep helping people. Keep spreading the techniques. While being hunted by clan masters. While being hunted by anyone. Kai's jaw set. Marco built something that matters. We don't let it die because things got dangerous. Jenner wanted to argue, wanted to point out that dangerous was an understatement when clan-level threats were involved. But Kai was right. They'd all signed up for this knowing the risks. Okay, she said. We keep operating. Smaller groups, more careful, but we don't stop. Reed nods around the room. Good, now we just need our leader back. The Rabbit Clan Council convened in a virtual meeting. 12 members in 12 locations, all appearing on encrypted video feeds. Darius had called it emergency status, which meant participation was mandatory. Gerald joined from his car, having finally escaped the police questioning. His face on the screen showed nothing but calm professionalism. Report, Elder Shen commanded. She was the oldest member, had been with the clan for 70 years, and her word carried absolute weight. Michael is dead, Darius said bluntly. Killed by the road by Marco and dropped from approximately 3,000 feet at a public rally. 70,000 witnesses. Multiple videos already circulating online. Police are investigating. How did an 18-year-old kill one of our master hunters? Another council member demanded. Gerald spoke for the first time. Because I trained him for 10 years before exiling him. He had the foundation. And because he paused, knowing this would change everything, he achieved the becoming heir technique. Silence on all feeds. That's impossible, Elder Shen said finally. The youngest master in recorded history was 42. No one under 40 has ever. I watched him do it, Gerald interrupted. After dropping Michael's body, he was visible 3,000 feet up. Then he dissolved completely, became incorporeal. I saw it with my own eyes. The technique that only 5 clan members in 1,000 years have achieved, Darius said slowly. Your 18-year-old son just mastered it. Yes. Another council member, younger, aggressive, leaned forward. This changes everything. He's not just a rogue teaching techniques anymore. He's a threat to every clan. If word spreads that someone that young achieved master-level incorporation, it undermines our entire authority structure. Agreed, Elder Shen said. Which raises the question, how do we respond? Send more hunters, someone suggested. 3 or 4 masters working together. And if he kills them too, Darius countered. We've already lost Michael. How many more do we sacrifice before admitting this requires a different approach? You're suggesting negotiation. I'm suggesting we consider all options. The boy Marco, he's not attacking randomly. He killed Michael in self-defense and delivered the body as a message. A warning. He's saying stay away from me and mine. Maybe we listen. Absolutely not. The aggressive council member snapped. He's teaching our techniques to clanless. That's unforgivable. The law is clear: death to anyone who breaks the teaching prohibition. Geralt listened to them argue and felt a strange mix of emotions. Pride that his son had achieved something so remarkable. Rage that Marco was using that achievement against him. Fear that this was spiraling beyond his control. There's another factor, he said quietly, cutting through the argument. Marco is my son. If the Purity movement discovers I am clan, discovers I have an awakened son who I exiled, it destroys everything I've built. And that impacts all of us. The Purity movement has been useful in controlling the public narrative about Awakened. If it collapses, if people learn about the clans, we lose centuries of carefully maintained secrecy. Elder Shen considered this. So we have two problems: a Marco teaching our techniques, and Marco potentially exposing our existence. Both require solutions. I propose a blood hunt, the aggressive member said. Full clan mobilization. Not just hunters, everyone. We find him, we end him, we erase everyone he's taught. Clean slate. That would require revealing ourselves, someone else pointed out. Hundreds of clan members operating openly, people would notice. Then we make it look like Purity movement action. Geralt orchestrates a major operation against Awakened. We provide the actual force. Public sees anti-Awakened extremists. We eliminate the threat. Everyone wins. Geralt's stomach turned. Using his Purity movement as cover for a clan operation. Brilliant and horrifying. Vote, Elder Shen commanded. Option 1, send multiple masters quietly. Option 2, blood hunt using Purity movement as cover. Option 3, attempt negotiation. The votes came in quickly. Option 1, 2 votes. Option 3, 1 vote. Darius. Option 2, 9 votes. Blood hunt is authorized, Elder Shen declared. Geralt, you will coordinate with clan leadership to plan a major Purity movement operation. Target the Awakened zones where Marco's Windwalkers operate. We will provide 50 clan members to supplement your normal forces. To the public, it will appear as a standard anti-Awakened raid. In reality, we will be eliminating Marco and everyone he's taught. When Geralt asked, his voice hollow, 3 days. That gives you time to mobilize your movement and us time to position our people. Darius will coordinate on our end. You will provide intelligence on locations and targets. The meeting ended. Geralt sat in his car, staring at nothing, and processed what he'd just agreed to. He was going to lead a massacre. 50 clan masters plus however many Purity movement members he could mobilize, all descending on the Awakened zones. Hundreds would die, probably thousands by the time the collateral damage was counted. And somewhere in that chaos, his son would either die or what? Become something even more dangerous. What have I done? What have we become? But he knew the answer. They'd become exactly what they'd always been: people who would do anything to maintain power and secrecy. Even if it meant killing children. Marco had been trying for 3 hours. He could form individual body parts, now hand, foot, head, but couldn't hold them and couldn't form multiple parts simultaneously. It was like trying to pat his head and rub his belly, except both actions required total concentration and hurt like hell. His boyfriend had stayed on the warehouse roof the entire time, watching Marco's intermittent manifestations, talking to him even though Marco couldn't respond. Come on, his boyfriend urged as Marco's translucent head appeared again. You're getting closer. I can see more detail now. Your scar is visible. Marco tried to add his shoulders, managed it for 5 seconds before the connection broke and he dissolved. This is taking too long. The longer I'm incorporeal, the harder it gets, like the connection is degrading. He tried again, this time focusing on his entire upper body at once rather than piece by piece. It worked. His head, shoulders, chest, and arms all coalesced simultaneously, still translucent but more solid than before. He had the vague impression of his lower body too, like a ghost below the waist. Yes, his boyfriend moved closer. Marco, you're almost there. Keep going. Marco tried to speak, managed to vibrate the air enough that sound emerged, barely audible, distorted. But words can't hold. Don't let go. Please, we need you. I need you. The emotion in his boyfriend's voice cut through Marco's exhaustion. He pushed harder, channeling everything into maintaining form. His legs solidified, then his feet. For the first time in hours, Marco existed as a complete human shape. Still translucent, still partially air, but complete. Good, Marco gasped, his voice hollow and strange. Progress. Can you become fully solid? Trying. He focused on density, making himself real instead of just shaped. It was different from forming body parts. This was about becoming matter instead of just pretending to be matter. Something shifted. His form became slightly more opaque. Then more. His hand, when he held it up, looked almost solid, still faintly translucent, still allowing some light through, but recognizably flesh. Almost, his boyfriend breathed. You're almost back. Marco pushed one more time, felt something in his channels give way, not breaking exactly, but opening. Like a dam releasing pressure, his body became solid. He fell. His boyfriend caught him, both of them crashing to the rooftop. Marco's legs weren't working right. He could barely feel them, but he was physical again. Real matter. Fuck, Marco gasped. That was fuck. You're bleeding. His boyfriend's voice was sharp with worry. Marco looked down. Blood was seeping from his nose, his ears, the corners of his eyes. Not a lot, but steady. He could feel pain now, sharp, burning pain in his Marner channels, like he'd torn something vital. Cost, he managed. Power always has a cost. What did you do to yourself? Mastered a technique meant for someone with 40 years of training. My body wasn't ready. Channels are damaged. Marco tried to sit up, failed. His muscles not responding properly. Might not be able to use wind manipulation for a while. Maybe permanent damage. Jesus Christ, Marco. Had to. Michael would have killed me otherwise. Killed all of you. Marco finally managed to sit up, leaning heavily on his boyfriend. Did everyone get out? Is the crew safe? Scattered. Safe houses across the city. 32 accounted for. Good. That's good. What do we do now? Marco looked at his hands. They were solid but trembling, and he could see faint marks across his arms like burns, but from the inside out. His Marner channels, visible through his skin, were darkened and inflamed. I don't know, he admitted. I killed a clan master and dropped his body at my father's rally. That's a declaration of war. They're going to respond with everything they have. Then we run. We disappear. No. Marco's voice was firm despite his weakness. Running means they win. Means everything we built gets erased. Means David and Carmen and Yuki died for nothing. You can barely stand. Your channels are damaged. How are you going to fight clan masters? I'll figure it out. I always do. But privately, Marco was terrified. The becoming air technique had taken everything out of him. His normal wind manipulation was sluggish, painful, maybe broken. He'd achieved something incredible and it might have destroyed him in the process. 3 days, he thought. I've got maybe 3 days before they come for us. 3 days to heal, to prepare, to figure out how to fight with broken channels. 3 days to become the weapon I need to be. His boyfriend helped him stand. Marco's legs wobbled but held. Let's get inside, his boyfriend said. Get you cleaned up. Then we figure out next steps. Yeah, next steps. As they made their way downstairs, Marco looked back at the empty rooftop where he'd spent hours trapped as air. I became nothing, he thought. Achieved the impossible, scared my father, killed his hunter, and it might have cost me everything. Detective Chen reviewed the security footage for the 20th time. Frame 147 empty stage. Frame 148 body mid-fall. Frame 149 impact. No frames showing the body before 148. No aircraft. No explanation. The victim, Michael Chen, no relation. According to the ID they'd finally pulled from federal databases, was a consultant, security specialist. No known connection to Gerald or the Purity movement. But the tattoo on his ribs told a different story. Chen had seen tattoos like that before. Not often. Not in her 12 years as a detective, but twice. Both times associated with cases that got shut down fast by federal authorities. Old families, secret societies, groups that didn't officially exist. She pulled up the other files. Both cases had involved impossibly skilled fighters with similar tattoos. Both had ended with orders from above to close the investigation and forget what she'd seen. What the fuck is going on? Her partner appeared at her desk. Got something. The victim's finances show regular payments from a shell corporation registered in Delaware. That corporation is owned by another corporation, which is owned by a trust, which is, let me guess, untraceable, mostly, but I pulled some strings. The trust has connections to 12 family foundations, all old money, all very private. Names. Her partner handed over the list. Chen read it and felt her blood run cold. These were some of the oldest, richest families in the world. Names that appeared in history books. Organizations that had existed for centuries. What are we looking at? Her partner asked. Something above our pay grade. Chen closed the file. Way above. So we drop it. She wanted to say yes. Wanted to follow orders. Close the case. Forget the impossibility of a body falling from nothing. But something about this felt wrong. Felt like the kind of wrong that got people killed if it wasn't stopped. We keep investigating, Chen said quietly. No reports to federal agencies yet. Just see what we can find. You're going to get us both fired. Probably. But I didn't become a cop to ignore murders just because powerful people want them ignored. She pulled up the security footage again, played it at quarter speed. In frame 148, just before the body appeared, there was something else. A distortion in the air high above, like heat shimmer, like something was there but couldn't quite be seen. Chen zoomed in, enhanced the image. For just one frame, she could see it, a human shape, barely visible, dissolving into nothing. What the hell? The woman with a scar across her face, Lieutenant Morrison, stood in her bathroom and stared at her reflection. The wound Marco had given her was healing badly. It would scar. Of course it would scar. That's what he'd intended. Bigots like your leader gave me this scar. She'd been turning those words over in her mind for 2 days now. Bigots like your leader. Not your leader gave me this, but bigots like your leader. Like Gerald was one of a type. Like there were others. Morrison pulled up her phone and started searching. Marco, scar, leader, Gerald. It took 15 minutes to find the connection. Old news articles. Speeches where Gerald mentioned his fallen son. Social media detectives who'd already put it together. Holy shit. Marco is Gerald's son. She kept reading. Gerald had a son. Threw him out at 13 for being gay. Cut him. Marked him. The same scar. Morrison touched her face, feeling the wound Marco had given her. The same scar Gerald had given his son. He did to me what was done to him, but he could have killed her. Should have killed her. She'd had a gun to a hostage's head and Marco had marked her instead. He showed mercy. 7 others had been marked too. Morrison found 3 of them at the Purity Movement headquarters, all sporting new facial scars, all looking haunted. You figured it out too? One of them asked when Morrison approached. That Marco is Gerald's son, yeah. Changes things, doesn't it? The man Johnson, she remembered, touched his own scar. Makes you wonder what else we've been lied to about. You still believe in the cause? Morrison asked. Johnson was quiet for a long moment. I believe Awakened are dangerous. I've seen what they can do, but Gerald's been preaching about righteousness and divine protection. About being better than them, more moral, more human. He looked at Morrison. Then we find out he marked his own 13-year-old son for being gay. What kind of righteous man does that? The kind who lies, Morrison said quietly. 3 of the other marked members joined them, all having the same crisis, all questioning everything. What do we do? One asked. Morrison looked at them. 5 people marked by Marco. 5 people who'd seen mercy when they'd expected death. 5 people who'd learned the truth about their leader. We find out what else he's been lying about, she said. And we make sure everyone knows. Marco woke to pain. Not just physical, though his Marna channels felt like they were on fire, but a deeper ache. Like something fundamental had been torn inside him. He was in their room at the warehouse, his boyfriend asleep beside him, one arm protective across Marco's chest. Afternoon light filtered through broken windows. How long was I out? Marco tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Every muscle protested. His vision swam. The world felt too solid, too real after hours of being air. But he was alive. Physical, human, for now. He could feel the damage in his channels. They'd been pushed beyond their limits, used to channel power meant for someone with decades more development. Some had torn completely. Others were so inflamed he could barely sense Marner flowing through them. Can I still fight? Can I even wind work? Marco reached for his power tentatively, trying to form a simple barrier. Adeni, the Marner responded, but moving through damaged channels was like pushing broken glass through his veins. He managed to create a weak barrier, maybe strong enough to stop a thrown rock before the pain made him stop. Fuck. I'm broken. Channels might heal, but it could take months, maybe years. And he didn't have months. The clans were coming. His father was coming. And Marco had just lost the one thing that made him dangerous, his clan-level wind manipulation. His boyfriend stirred. You're awake. How do you feel? Like I got hit by a truck made of knives. That specific. His boyfriend sat up, checking Marco's forehead. You've been out for 6 hours. The bleeding stopped, but you're running a fever. Your Marner channels are visible through your skin. That's not normal, right? Marco looked down. His arms were covered in dark lines, his channels, inflamed and damaged, showing through his skin like he'd been marked with black ink. They pulsed faintly with each heartbeat. Not normal, not good, means severe damage. He tried to form another barrier and immediately stopped as pain spiked. Can barely use my powers. Maybe 5% capacity. Everything hurts. So we run. We hide. We have 3 days, Marco interrupted. Maybe less. My father and the clan are coming. I know how they work. They won't wait long. They'll mobilize fast and hit hard. How do you know? Because it's what I'd do in their position. I killed the master hunter and exposed them partially. They can't let that stand. So they'll come with everything they have. Marco forced himself to sit up despite the pain. We need to prepare. Need to get the crew ready. You need to rest. You can barely move. I'll rest when I'm dead. Marco swung his legs over the edge of the bed, stood, and immediately collapsed. His boyfriend caught him. That's what I thought. You're in no condition to fight. Then I'll get into condition. 3 days is enough to heal partially. Enough to at least win the work. And if it's not enough... Marco looked at his damaged hands, at the black lines of broken channels running up his arms. Then I'll fight anyway. With broken channels, reduced power, whatever I have left. He met his boyfriend's eyes. Because the alternative is letting my father destroy everything we've built. And I'm not doing that. Not after David and Carmen and Yuki died for it. You're insane. Probably. But I'm also the only reason we're still alive. Marco managed to stay standing this time. Now help me downstairs. We need to call a meeting. Everyone who can make it. We've got 3 days to turn scattered refugees into an army. An army of what? We're street fighters. They're sending masters. Then we'll be smart, fast, vicious. Marco's jaw set. And we'll make them regret ever coming after us. Gerald stood in his private office and stared at the map on his wall. The awakened zones were marked in red. Windwalker safe houses based on intelligence his people had gathered were marked with pins. 52 locations. Probably not all of them, but enough. In 3 days, they'd hit all 52 simultaneously. 50 clan masters plus 400 Purity Movement members. It would be the largest coordinated operation in his movement's history. The public would see it as a major crackdown on Dangerous Awakened. The clans would get their blood hunt. And somewhere in that chaos, his son would either die or disappear forever. Is this what I wanted? When I threw him out 5 years ago, did I imagine it would end like this? Gerald tried to remember the boy Marco had been. Bright, talented, obedient until he wasn't. The perfect heir until the day he admitted what he was. I gave you everything, Gerald thought. Trained you, taught you, tried to make you into something great. And you threw it away for sin. But that wasn't quite true, was it? Marco hadn't thrown anything away. Gerald had taken it from him. Had marked him, exiled him, expected him to die. Instead, Marco had survived, built something, achieved mastery, become more than Gerald had ever been. And now I'm going to kill him for it. His phone buzzed. Darius. Positioning is underway. 50 clan members will be in the city by tomorrow night. They'll integrate with your forces for the operation. Good. Gerald, are you sure about this? What choice do I have? You could let him go. He's your son. You could. He's not my son anymore. That boy died 5 years ago. What's left is a threat that needs to be eliminated. But Darius didn't sound convinced. He'd achieved becoming heir at 18. Only 5 others in clan history have ever done it. And the youngest before him was 42. Do you understand what that means? Your son just shattered every record we have. He's exceptional, potentially the most gifted wind user in generations. And you're going to kill him. He's teaching our secrets to clanless, breaking the most sacred law we have. Maybe the law is wrong. Maybe. Goodbye, Darius. Gerald hung up and returned to staring at the map. 52 red pins. 52 targets. Hundreds of people who would die in 3 days. And somewhere among them, his son. His brilliant, defiant, impossible son who'd looked at him from 3,000 feet up and then become nothing just to prove he could. I'm sorry, Gerald thought, knowing Marco would never hear it. I'm sorry I couldn't be better. Couldn't be the father you deserved. Couldn't see past tradition and power to understand what I was throwing away. But it's too late now. He picked up the phone and began making calls. The operation needed to be perfect, coordinated, overwhelming. In 3 days, this ended. One way or another. End of Chapter 5.